Good morning. Let us begin with this stotra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That Brahman is infinite, and this universe is also infinite. The infinite universe come out from the infinite. But taking the infinitude of the infinite, it remains as the infinite. That is the teaching of the Vedanta. Now we are studying the Brhadaranyaka Upanishad. And Brhadaranyaka Upanishad, it goes through a story, and that truly happened with the Yajnavalkya and the other. They were having the discussions, debates. And here we find how slowly the transformation is coming. In the beginning, this our Hindu religion or the Vedantic religion, the religion that is based on the Veda, it evolved with Karma Kanda. The Karma Kanda means they developed some mantras, some secret utterings, and also the sacrifices, by which they used to get a different type of results. And that was called yajnas. Till now, it is also there. Till now, the people, they practice yajnas. But it was there. Then slowly it is evolving. And it went into the mind. And that picture we will find in the great debate. And we know that the debate, the chapter 3, section 1 of the Brhadaranyaka Upanishad, it described the beginning of the great debate. Janaka ha boideho bahu dakshinena yajnena ije. It says Janaka, that the king of the Videha, he performed a great sacrifice. Now, we always find this word yajna. Yajna is a great word, and what is that yajna? Anything that we do for the betterment of others is yajna. But the yajna, usually, we think that we light a fire and then pour the classified butter and offer other things. And we believe that that fire, it takes those things to the particular god or goddess addressing whom we are offering that. So that was the beginning, and that is called Karma Kanda. The Vedas are having two sections. One is Karma Kanda, another Jnana Kanda. Kanda means the section. The Jnana, we will come to know how slowly they are transforming, and Karma, the action. And that was, slowly it became complicated. In the beginning it was all right. A person, he is thinking, and then he thought, it is not possible for me to do. So he started appointing some of the special person. And so they came and they were doing that. Then it became they elaborated. So one person, it was not possible to do. So they divided all the responsibilities, and it became really a complicated thing. Afterwards, Lord Buddha, at least 2,500 years before, he protested against this. He was a Hindu, but he told, why unnecessarily you are complicating the whole religion, and the religion that ordinary people won't be able to follow. won't be able to practice. Why the ordinary people have to depend on the other people, that is Purohita, a person who is sitting at the front and then doing the yajnas or the spiritual practices on your behalf. It's called Purohita. Puro means in the front. Hita for the betterment, so Purohita. So why we have to have those? The Buddha, he told that, and he said, rather, he of course was giving the emphasis on morality and practicing some of the high moral values like ahimsa, then truthfulness and all that. He was a very practical type of person. But now, those who were there at the time, they didn't like it. So naturally, there was a great debate and slowly they pushed them. But the kings in those days, they accepted the Lord Buddha for two reasons. One, he was from Kshatriya. He was not a Brahmana. And the Kshatriya, again, he has realized the truth. So obviously, the kings were very happy. And when the kings are accepting, then naturally it is the ordinary people also were accepting. So by that way, it became very popular, spread all over India. And that was a different picture. Now it was much, much earlier than this. The Yanaka, who is organizing Yajna. From here we get another that we have already discussed in our previous class. Another picture of our society, the ancient Indian society, the kings were learned people, most of them. And they were excellent, the learning, and they were realized souls like Yanaka. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, again and again in his conversation in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he has mentioned that about the Yanaka. He was having two swords, Sri Ramakrishna giving the example. That he was a householder, at the same time he was a sannyasi. He was a recluse. So by that way, he used to live his life as if two swords he is holding and he was proceeding. That this is the Janaka. The Janaka, he practiced austerity for a long period of time and then he realized this truth. Even in some of the places it is there, the Shukadeva, the great sage, he went to Janaka to learn about the Brahmagyana. His father, he told, no, I am not. And even if I say you won't believe, a son is not very much, the father may be a very learned person, but the son says, father, oh no, he won't know. Because of the close association, usually the sons don't like to take that way. But Shukadeva case was different. He was saying to the Janaka. The Janaka was a householder, he was the king. He was Rajarshi. Janaka, they said it is Raja plus Rishi, is Rajarshi. Very rare type of character. This Janaka, then he organized this debate. And he said, I will give you the gift. It was not gift. We can say the prize. And why? He said that those among all these great scholars, any one or two, if they say that he is the greatest of all these knowers of Brahman, he will get that. So, Janaka habai boi deho bahu dakshinena. Dakshina, without the dakshina, nothing will be performed. Actually, you are not going to get the perfect result of your sacrifice. You are going to do something, for that you must have to pay. Bahu dakshinena yajnan ije. Yajnan, he organized the sacrifice. With the costly gift, we can say. Now the Brahmans, the learned people from Kuru and Panchala assembled over there. And it is mentioned in the Sanskrit in this way, Tatra ha Kuru Panchalanam Brahmana Abhisameta. Abhisameta, they assembled. They all came. And now we can imagine how all these learned people slowly coming and they're assembling in the Janaka's court. And in those days, of course, the court afterwards, when you find, it is not like that. It was very simple type of houses. That's why sometimes the Europeans, they doubt whether we were having the kings or not. But kings also used to live in a very humble, simple houses, no luxuries. Whatever the ordinary other people are living in that almost the same way, and whatever requirement, so there will be a big house, big room where all they will assemble, but simple. So simple living, high thinking, that was the philosophy of life. The simple living, high thinking. The ones when Swami Vivekananda was returning, he was accompanied by some of the European ladies, the MacLeod, Sister Nivedita and all that. And in Madras, some of the disciples and the devotees of Swami Vivekananda came to meet Swamiji. And in Madras, you know, the people, they will be putting the marks on their body, and because of the very warm country, the most of them, because of the weather, they are the dark color, and on that the white marks and all that. These ladies saw them and they were laughing, and some of them commented, "Oh, like the leopards." Swami Vivekananda became very angry. He said, "Do you know, all the scholars of your country together won't be able to compete with them, one of them. They are so learned people and so humble, so simple people. And because of the weather, they don't need the clothings. The mostly bare body with just a chadar as the covering. So they look simple, but they are really, really learned." So that was the lifestyle of India even 100 years before. And we can imagine at the time, though we were having a lot of gold, jewelries, a lot of wealth in India. But at the same time, they were very simple type of people. The Janaka, he is organizing and he is supporting these schools, these teachers who were contributing to the society. And how the debate. Now, when the debate is there, naturally there will be listeners, there will be the people will be there in audience. Who are those people? Ordinary people. They used to come in hundreds. They will be sitting and listening to that debate. The society, they develop this type of understanding, particularly the very difficult philosophy. Now, we will come to know how the question answers are going on. Mainly today, it will be based, we'll be quoting one person, that based on the yajnas. And these people all assembled, tatraha kuru panchalam brahmana abhisameta. What was the gift that Janaka was supposed to give? And it says, saha gobam sahasram. Sahasra, 1,000 cows. 1,000 cows, but not ordinary cows. Dasha dasha padaha ekaikasya sringayoho. The sringa means the horn of the cows. It was covered with gold. How much gold? Dasa dasa pada. Pada means 1/3 of an ounce. And into 10, that is 1, and then second, that means that much gold every cows were having, and 1,000 cows. We can understand how much wealth that it was having. So that was there, and he declared, anyone you are here, but it was not a free gift. So what he said, the king said, he wanted to know who was the most learned among the Brahmanas. Ka sid anuchanatam, ka seat, that means who was Anuchanatam, most learned among this group. The king addressed the learned gathering in this way: O learned ones, the greatest Vedic scholar amongst you can take all the cows. That's all. Then he didn't say anything else. The greatest scholar among you can take all the cows. It is not the first and second and third. You must have to be the greatest, the first. Then you take all the 1,000 cows. We can imagine that when after this, when he said, there was silence. Who will say that I am the greatest? The moment you say that I am knower of Brahman, see, you have to understand this. I am knower of Brahman. That means I is separate. As long as I is there, Brahman is the duality. So how we can say that I know Brahman? We cannot. No one can say that. Aham Brahmasmi, they say that and then declare that I am that Brahman. But I know the Brahman. No, that is atrocity. That is the ego that you are manifesting. They will never say that. In other Upanishads also we have found. So we have to notice this type of characteristics of the people. Those who are learned, they are so humble. They will never even say that I know that. They will never. One person went to a great scholar and said, can you please tell me by knowing which I can understand all? And he said, well, there are two types of knowledge, and the knowers of Brahman said that. Not, they didn't say I said that. Knowers of Brahman said that. Dve vidde veditubbe iti hasmayat brahmavido badanti. Brahmavido, those who have known the Brahman, badanti, they said, I am not telling you. This humbleness is the speciality of knowledge. And this jnana, this knowledge, makes one humble. So how I will know that this person is truly an educated person? He must be humble. So this is all these characteristics we find from this type of stories. So when they said, you can, among you, who is the best, you can take all, there was a silence. No one could say that. Suddenly Yajnavalkya stood up and he called his student. Oh dear Samastrava. Samastrava is the name. Sama, in the Sama Veda, so Strava, he was very fond of listening to those songs, Samagana. So he was fond of songs, music. So his name was Samastrava. According to the characteristic, the name mostly they used to give. The one is very much fond of music and he used to listen to those music. His name was Samastrava. Strava means hearing, Sravana, so he was very fond of music. Will you please drive these cows to my home? He said. He didn't say that I am the greatest one, but he said, can you please take these cows to my home? And one thing we must notice, he didn't say ashrama, he said my home. Because he was a married person. He was having the children, he was having the wives. And we know that actually in the beginning, he was distributing all his wealth between two wives. He was householder. So who were the rishis? Householders. Who actually made all these Upanishads and the great discoveries of truth? Householders. Even though they were householders, but they were not going for money or anything. Kings used to support them. So these highly scholars, they could concentrate and they could develop many things and they used to teach that to the younger generations. So that was the system. Education cannot be sold. That was the dictum. Education cannot be sold. If a teacher is taking money from the student, oh, he is not a teacher. How to maintain these standards is very difficult. And now education everywhere in the world is only a commodity. So I will teach you and you have to pay to me. That has become a commodity. But jnana, vitarana, that you have to give to the children, to the next generation, knowledge, your experience. But for that you should not ask for money. Another characteristics of Indian culture. We talk about Indian culture, but many of us, we do not know what is the Indian culture. This humbleness, even though they were very learned, and they will never ever sell knowledge. And that is the reason, even when we were children, we have seen some of the teachers, they will never accept money against this. So people used to give them the rice and the vegetables and all those things. They used to call sida. Sida means all these raw things we used to carry and give it to them so that their family can maintain. No money. All the village, they used to supply the vegetables, the rice and oil and clothing and everything that is necessary to that Brahmana, and in exchange he will teach only. But he won't accept money that way. So they say in that way, we can imagine the scene. All scholars, with great hope they came, that they will take those cows, and they were waiting that there will be debate, there will be discussion, there will be something so that they can also prove that he or she is capable. But why the Yajnavalkya suddenly stood up and then he asked like that? Then, but on all the faces there were anger and frustration. Then why this should be? And no one was dared to stand up and challenge the Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya was a great scholar. Now Ashvala, one person, and he was the invoking priest. Now as we are telling, it became slowly complicated, the yajnas became complicated. So obviously there were different type of priest. And this is called invoking priest. Invoking priest means before the yajna, anything that is they're going to perform, they will be asking the god to come and sit over there and accept the oblation. We also, even today, you will notice if you listen to the mantras, the priest who is doing the puja worship, he will say, "O God, ihagaccha, ihagaccha." In the Sanskrit they say, "Please come here, come here." Ihatishta, ihatishta. And they will show the hand, ihagaccha, ihagaccha. You come here, you come here. Ihatishta, ihatishta. Sannidehi. You comfortably, you sit over here because I am going to worship you. Sit over here. When you listen, you think, oh, what just they are telling. It is not. The person who is worshipping, he can imagine, he can see the God is truly coming and sitting. There are some mirrors, the Ma Sharadamani Devi, when she used to offer food, she used to call the gods. First she will call Thakur Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda and all others, and the Krishna and all other Ganesha, then say, "Come, I have offered the food, come and sit, it is becoming cold." The way she used to say, as if truly the gods are going and taking seat and they will eat. That is called the devotion with prema. The prema bhakti. Bhakti is the devotion, prema is the extreme love. And the love that truly manifests, the God is taking form and they are truly doing that. So this person, he was an expert in invoking the God. So that he was the Ashala, invoking priest. There were others like Hota, then Udgata, then Ritik, these different type of works they used to do. And one was Brahma. The Brahma, all the 4 Vedas used to know, all the 4 Vedas. The Chatur means 4, Veda, the Chaturvedi, they were the Brahma. And they will be sitting in one place and observing how the things are going on, whether everything is perfectly doing or not. Now, in the laboratory, if you don't have the proper apparatuses, you cannot test. So, you have to, suppose you are doing some test, anything you cannot use, you need some special particular thing. So, they will be designing and they will make it and they will use it by that way. Here also in the yajnas, all these accessories, they were specially made accessories. So we cannot simply deny there's all this useless thing, they're just lighting the fire and pouring the ghee. Not like that. They had different type of accessories. They had mantras, they had system to pour, they had system to lighting also. Why they did all those? Just you throw a matchstick and there will be fire. Not like that. They will be doing in a completely different way. That means something was there and very special. We have forgotten those things. And that is the reason we are not getting the effect. We are doing that, but we are not doing in a perfect way, and we are not uttering the mantras, the sounds in perfect way, and that is the reason all these mistakes are happening, and we are not getting any result out of the yajnas. These yajnas are very, very important thing, and in those days that was the main thing to do. And this Ashvala, he was the priest of the king, and he was also there, he took part in the debate. So he first got up and he angrily asked, Yajnavalkya, natam nu khalu brahmishta asi? Do you think you are the greatest among all these learned people? Not tum khalu, not tvam khalu. Now among us, tvam, you, khalu, do you think truly that you are brahmishta asi? You are the greatest? Yajnavalkya was humble. This person, he angrily asked. But the reply that the Yajnavalkya is giving, very humble way, he said, the Yajnavalkya is mentioning, my salutation at the feet of the greatest one. In reply, he said, my salutation at the feet of the greatest one, Brahmishtaya namak kurmaha. But you know why I have taken those cows? Because I am having so many students. I have to maintain my school. So I have taken Bhayam gokamaha ibasma, that much, nothing else. And who has given him the permission to take? Actually, he was having complete confidence. In the debate, no one will be able to defeat him. He was having thorough knowledge of everything. That confidence was there. But at the same time, he was humble. And he stood up and asked his student to take the cows, and they were also very expert and smart. Immediately they took the cows. They started, all 1,000 cows they took. Now this debate broke, and this person told, do you think you are the greatest? He said, no, I am offering my pranam to the greatest one, but you know, I need those cows, that's why I have taken. Then he said, Yajnavalkya humbly replied, but he, well, in that case, you have to answer my questions, Ashvala said, and the great debate started. Tell me, Yajnavalkya, how the sacrificer overcome the death as the accessories, the fire, the priest, all are having limitation due to the attachment. I am not reading the Sanskrit, just English. The first question was, it is not, if you notice, it is not about philosophy. It is about the practice. as because the yajna that is practiced, the karma kanda. The karma kanda, the first thing, why we are doing the sacrifice? To perform or to achieve some result. If that is so, then the one who is performing, he is actually limited. He is going to die. So they use the word mrityu, the death. That means the limitation is there. So he said that tell me how the sacrificer, the one who is organizing this, and it is very complicated thing, so naturally he is using the services of the great souls, and obviously they are paying and this thing. And when after that he is not getting anything, then what is the use of doing this sacrifice? That is the main thing. Tell me how the sacrificer overcome death. Death means limitation. It's not the mrityu means the limitations, as because the accessories he is using, the fire he is using, and even the priest that performing on his behalf, all have the limitations. How he will overcome? In reply, Yajnavalkya, he said, one should meditate the fire as the organ of speech. From here, if we notice, from external it goes to internal. That is the beauty of this, our Hindu Dharma. External things that we do is so complicated, so many, but the moment you take it in a different spiritual way, spiritual meaning is completely different. He says that you have to think in this way, you have to meditate. One should meditate fire as the organ of speech. And the fire is the invoking priest. Invoking priest, very important function, that he is invoking, he is calling, inviting the deity. And who is that? It is the fire. And so that organ of speech is the fire. By that way, you have to meditate, and then you will get the liberation. So this external object that we see, if we are imagining inside, then completely different. If you notice the puja nowadays, it has been simplified. What we do, any puja Hindus are performing, you will notice that there is a, when the permanent things are there, it may not be there. But in the temple, if you go, you will find there is a pitcher full of water. The image is there, then in front of the image, there is a pitcher full of water. Though they cover with clothes and decoration and flower, we generally don't notice that. But that will be there, and the water will be there. And what is this water? Water is the symbol of formlessness. There is no form. Water has no form. In whatever container you are using, that form it is taking. So water is the symbol of formlessness. And ultimately, the consciousness is formless. But we cannot imagine that formlessness. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and there I met a lady. She was telling that they have a group and they meditate on light. And she was telling formless meditation. That's good. But light also an object. The light may be a lamp. So lamp is also an object. You are meditating on object, but it's okay. So they are meditating on the light. But if you have some object which you like, maybe your god or goddess or something, so that you can easily concentrate your mind. Then slowly you are transcending that. They are worshipping, the Hindus, they worship the goddess Durga, the Kali. In this country, the immersion is not there because they won't allow to throw that image in the water. But in our California, Hollywood, they perform the Kali Puja. Then they take that Mother Kali. Every time one American lady is there, she will make herself the goddess Kali. And after the puja on Sunday, and they will go to that ocean, Pacific Ocean, and they will hire a boat and they will go, they will sing, and they go to it inside the water, and then they immersion. Only last, I think today or yesterday they have done it. I also once attended. I went over there to see the Pacific Ocean, to go into the Pacific Ocean. The immersion we have seen a lot. Now, the image we are making, and when we are making almost 1 or 2 months it takes, then so much of decoration, then so much of carefully you are putting that and worshipping whole night. In Hollywood they do whole night. There's a lot of devotees are there. They live nearby. So they come and stay. If we do over here, after 8 o'clock nobody is there, myself and God. No. So that's why we do only for 2 hours. And that too people after half an hour, 1 hour ask, is the prasad ready? Then we can go. So, anyway, in Hollywood, whole night they will be having the puja, and they do. Why do they do that? Because we are not worshipping that particular image. The image that is made of the earth and sometimes stone, sometimes wood, we throw it in the water. Why water again? That goes and mixes in the infinite. So ultimately our mind goes to the infinite. And that is the ultimate thing. The infinite is everywhere. That consciousness is everywhere. But we are not this moment able to understand that. For that we need that image. As the child goes to the school, they will be showing them, this is elephant, this is the dog, this is horse, and they will slowly learn. And afterwards, they don't need those things, they know. So same way, when you are first concentrating, it is better to learn that there is something. This here also, there is to have the fire as the God. And then now, Yajnavalkya is teaching, why don't you think that fire, it is within you. And the fire is your tongue. And you must think in that way, and the moment the fire is the invoking priest, he is calling God, he is repeating the mantra, uttering the mantra, so that you must remember. Again, in the modern days, what we do, before puja, if you notice in the big pujas, they will be purifying each and every part of the body. Ang nama, kam nama, chang nama, bang nama. The people are listening, they are funny, what they are uttering. But actually they will be purifying the fingertips. Why? Because they are going to use this finger for worship. The first all the fingertips, then their head, then the shoulder, then the legs, hands, the whole body. They will purify by uttering the mantra, and when they are uttering the mantra, that has a meaning, that particular portion, they will never say Ang Nama here, they will say Ang Nama here. A, Ka, Kha, Ka, like this it will go. And they will be uttering all this. Ma Kali is having the garland of human skull. It is not human skull, it is knowledge. And how you know how many the human skull should be there in the garland of Mother Kali? The number of the letters that we are having in Sanskrit alphabets, from A to Visarga. Hinduism is full of symbolism. People are so much afraid of Mother Kali. But here in America, they even don't keep the picture of Mother Kali. No, people will. It is nothing. It's completely wrong thing. The image, you have to understand that how they have wonderfully imagined. and they have given the symbol. Here the symbol, in the beginning it was all outside. Now Yajnavalkya introducing it should go inside. External objects like fire, priest should be imagined as the deity, and that way through meditation one can transcend the temporariness. The temporariness means we are born and death, that is the temporary period. One person is born and then afterwards is died. Death is there. So maybe 60 years, 100 years, they used to calculate 100 years. So that usually people perform fire sacrifice with some desire which is also called death. So whenever we are sacrificing something, doing something with a prayer that I need this, it is death. That means temporary. The word we are using, mrityu, mrityu means that, oh, they are very much afraid of mrityu, the death. It is temporary actually. I want a son. For that they will be performing the yajna. Dasharatha, the great king, he performed because he was not having any issue. So he performed and he got the 4 sons. And afterwards what happened? Because of the son, they had a quarrel, and then because of that the poor man died. Oh, Ramchandra, I have to go because I gave the promise, and all the story we know. So the temporary thing. Ramchandra, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, all were born. They are great souls. But because of their son only, there was a conflict between 2 mothers and then the death of the father. That is the story. So that's why they say everything is temporary. The great soul like Dasharatha, he performed the yajna, and in that yajna he wanted children. He got the children, but temporary. So that way he is again and again mentioning you must be careful about it. That nothing should be temporary for the permanent. You have to transcend. How you can transcend? You have to imagine that you are actually meditating on God, and that God is that fire. The fire which is externally over there, that you have to imagine inside, and you are sacrificing and giving everything to that fire which is you. And that consciousness will develop. Yet the death means the attachment to limitations. Ashwala again asked. Now this whole chapter I won't repeat as because it is very technical things are there about the yajnas, and we are not very much aware of those things nowadays. So he will say, Ashwala again said, what about yadidam sarvam ahoratrabhyam aptyam ahoratra, day and night. It is there. What about that? That means the happiness and suffering is there. Dina, that means the day, happiness. Ratra, by that way he is mentioning suffering. So, yad idam sarvam ahoratrabhyam aptyam, since all this is overtaken by day and night and swayed by them, then how the sacrificer go beyond time? Day and night. Day and night is a time. How you will go beyond time? No one can go beyond time. So then he answers in the same way that you are talking about the priest who is giving this. So Yajnavalkya goes on giving the reply. You have to meditate on the subtle part of that. Don't think in the external way, the gross form. Think in a subtle form and you will be overcoming. He said, meditate on the sun. Sun is the day and you are that sun. And sun means effulgence, the light. You are that. If you are meditating in that way, you are the priest, you are the fire, you are the sacrificer, you are putting the oblation, you are that. So this subtleness, slowly, the Yajnavalkya introducing. Here, in the last mantra, let's call in the 9th mantra, Yajnavalkya said, they are asking the question, through how many gods does this Brahmana from the right protect the sacrifice today? I am reading from this because how this thing happened, and they will be learning about it. There is a yajna from the right, from the left, from the above, from below. Every corner, every side, you have to first protect. It should not be disturbed. So, only one example I am giving to you. He is asking, Ashvala, he is asking, through how many gods does the Brahmana from the right protect the sacrifice today? Then he said, answer, Yajnavalkya said, one. Which is the one? The mind. The God is protecting, and what is that? Mind. Mind is indeed infinite, and infinite are all these Bashus. So, when we read the Yajnavalkya's reply, it always takes us to that subtle and the great religion. And Ashvala, he was trying to ask questions only about the performances that was happening. Yajnavalkya, how many classes of hymns will the Udgatri chant in the sacrifice? So naturally, sometimes in the class also, in the mathematics class, they will be asking about the maths. In the history and the other, they will be asking about that. And here, he is asking about yajna. Do you know everything about yajna? As because you are claiming that you are the greatest, you must know everything about yajna. Otherwise, you cannot say that you are the greatest. Some of the things, some of the knowledges you are not having. Yajnavalkya, though he was a philosopher, he knew every details of the sacrifices also. So, one after another, I am reading from the chapter 9th verse, that is the last verse. He is mentioning how many classes of hymns will the Udgatri chant. Udgatri, as I was mentioning, there are different type of responsibilities were there among the priest. Some will be going on chanting. Again, in the modern time, I am giving you the picture of the old and the modern. In the modern time, if you go to a puja, particularly in Belur Math, we cannot do because we don't have the manpower, those who know it. So obviously, whatever we do in a minimum thing. But if you go to Belur Math, our headquarters, they are everything elaborate. When the Durga Puja is going on, there will be another Swami who will be performing the puja of Ganesha, there will be puja of Kartik. Like this, different pujas will be continuously going on. They will be chanting mantras. But Durga Puja time, Chandi, whole Chandi they will be chanting because that is the mantras. Another person will do that. Here he is asking, how many classes of hymns will the Udgatri, the person who is chanting that, his title is Udgatri. He will do, and 3. Yajnavalkya immediately answering, 3 classes. Which are those 3? He said, preliminary, sacrificial, and eulogistic hymns. Which are those that have reference to the body? Going on asking question. And the prana for the preliminary, apana for the sacrificial, and the vyana for the eulogistic hymns. What does he win through them? Through the preliminary hymns, he wins the earth. Through the sacrificial hymns, he wins the sky. And through the eulogistic hymns, he wins the heaven. The earth and heaven, that is covered with that. But this is the way our conversation went on. we'll be continuing because another person will come up and ask question, and then will come the Gargi. The Gargi, the great lady scholar of those days. And sometimes people, they say that in India there was no education for women. That is wrong, because in ancient India, the learned ladies were there who could challenge Yajnavalkya. We can understand when you are reading, it is not clearly mentioned in the, and we don't write things in a historical way. Just whatever is there for the perspective from the spiritual, they write. If they had given all details about Gargi and Yajnavalkya, it would have been really good. But they never cared about that. They always go for the knowledge, not for the person. But anyway, in that great debate where all the great scholars were there, this lady saint, she stood up, challenged Yajnavalkya. Gargi, Maitreyi, there were 21 the scholars, lady scholars were there. When we read the biography of Ramachandra in the Ramayana, we find that when he is traveling in the jungle, there were lady saints who were also practicing meditation and discovering the truths. Because in the Satya Yuga, in the beginning of this creation, each and every one who were capable, those who were intellectual, perhaps that was the norm, that you should have to go and concentrate and find out the truth. That was necessary. So many lady saints also we come across when the Ramachandra is going through the jungle. And then Sita, she was following, the wife of Rama, she was following Sri Ramachandra. And she was having all the jewelries also. And when she met these ladies, then one of them, she told Sita, I appreciate you. Now the ladies need not to go for meditation and concentrate on discovering the truth. It has already been discovered. Now their responsibility is shifting to start the family. A good human family is necessary. So that from the Brahmavadini, Pativrata. The Pativrata, another, the responsibility on the women of the society that was given. At the present time, they always complain and there is a movement. That's because of the misuse of the thing. The Pativrata, they were given the responsibility to develop the family. If the human family is not properly taken care, then naturally it will be, whole society will break down. That was the idea, a great idea. So marriage conception came. The Ramachandra going and punishing others, marriage conception coming. In the Upanishad we find that along with the rishis, there are other saints are also there. They are also practicing, and we will come next class, not the next Sunday, because I will be there in the New Year, and maybe after that we will discuss about the great debate between that lady Gargi and Yajnavalkya. And that was completely on philosophy. Now in conclusion we can say, slowly the transformation and evolution of the Hindu religion we can find over here in the Brhadaranyaka Upanishad. And there we find the many of the people who were trying to develop the spirituality, some of them, they were concentrating on the materialistic way, the materialistic development. So the yajnas and karma, that was introduced, and there were others, they told that we have to go beyond this. Materialistic sacrifices, development is good. Abhudaya, and they mentioned the word Abhudaya. materialistic development. But along with that, if the spiritual development is not there, if we cannot control all our greed, our desires, then that will be dangerous. So that's why Nistreyasha. This Nistreyasha, that was the spiritual development. So thank you, friends. Next Sunday, we will discuss about these two, the great scholars debating, Gargi and Yajnavalkya. Is there any question?
First question is from Sincere Science. Maharaj, we got the chance to get Diksha from Swami Vivekananda Maharaj. Unfortunately, one of my family members passed away just 6 days before the schedule. Feeling sad. Why is God not doing rebirth?
I don't know. Actually, see, these things are different. We are discussing completely a different subject, and if you have the question in that related, it will be better. So, I will say that we can discuss this afterwards. If she writes to me, I can discuss afterwards, not now. Okay? Any other question?
Next question is also from Sushmita Basu. Maharaj, every week I go to Vidyanvati, that is my Diksha place. After returning from there, my attitude is completely changed. I don't want to enter my samsara. Is it right?
It is good, but you know that just now I was concluding, though discussing about that the ladies have one more responsibility, that is homemaking. The homemaking responsibility, and that came down from the mother Sita, that is also on you. So you have to understand whatever work that you are doing at your home, that is also as pure as the work that they do in the ashrama. In the ashrama, when they are performing puja, you think that is purifying them? And when you are cooking at home, that is not purifying you? That is because of the attitude. If you are in the ashrama also, they are cooking, but they think they are cooking for God. In the home, if you think that way only, I am cooking for God, the same thing is happening. I am not telling. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna mentioned this. Wherever you are, it is the mind only. If you are in the ashrama and you are thinking about the world, you are worldly. And if you are in the household and thinking about the ashrama, you are divine. So think in that way. Otherwise, swadharma, you are married, you are wife, you are a mother, you have the responsibility. So that you must think. Along with that, detachment is also necessary. So this is the only thing I have. No, not like that. At this time, I am having this, and I should perform everything, whatever comes before me, as best way as possible. But at the same time, I should offer that at the feet of God. That's all. By that way, try, you will develop in spiritual life. Don't give up your own religion, that is called Swadharma. Thank you. Okay, friends, let us say Shanti 3 times and we conclude. Om Shanti. 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 Harihi Om. Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat, that is also the name of the Brahman. Om is the name of Brahman, Tat, that, Sat, eternal. So all these things that we see are all changing, and how can we observe the change? Because something must be eternal. Comparing that, we are understanding this is temporary, and that is Sat. Sat means the consciousness. Thank you, friends. Thank you for coming. There's all festivity going on, and now people are getting ready for the Thanksgiving Day, then 24th December. I found everywhere. Even then you are coming, and this is really little difficult subject, but still I am trying my as best I can do and the way to explain it, because this is all completely different thing that the yajnas, we have not seen it, we never perform it. This karma kanda that happens is a completely different thing. So through karma kanda we are going to the jnana kanda. There's a portion of knowledge. So by that way we will learn the Brhadaranyaka Upanishad. Thank you.